When holding the instrument, the first thing to teach is the proper way to pick up the instrument. I know we all cringe when we see a student try to pick up an instrument by the fingerboard, but they must be told, always pick up the instrument from the neck and from the back. And this is how I set it down, and this is how I pick it up. This button, we have a special name for this button called an end button. We put that button right on our knee, and then we take our thumb and we put our thumb on this other button here that we call our thumb button. And when our thumb's on the thumb button, we can put our fingers on the shoulder of the instrument. And so here's a couple checks. Tap your thumb button. Make sure all 4 fingers are on the top of the instrument. And if you have a good thumb button and fingers, you will not drop this instrument. Even if you put it upside down, or even if you put it over your head, it's really got a good firm hold. Don't ever try to hold the instrument without having your thumb on that thumb button. That would be really bad. You might drop it. Now, we'll first take and pick up the instrument with both hands. So we still keep our thumb on our thumb button and our left hand fingers on the shoulder, but we use our other hand to help here. And I have 4 steps that we go through. The first step is called attention position. Notice it's going straight up and down, just like American Gothic by Grant Wood. After attention position, the next step is called present. Invert. Find the button. Over the head. And in for a landing. Now let's go a little slower on all those steps. The first step was called present. After present, we want to do what's called invert. And if you're having trouble with your invert, it might be because you're going the wrong direction. After you invert, quickly find this button with your finger. Tap it a couple times. That button is going to go right to the left of that bump in your throat called the Adam's apple. So, button goes right on the neck. Now, a couple checks we can make is to make sure if you put your finger on that button, hopefully you feel your neck. If you were holding the instrument like this, and you could put your finger on that button and not touch your neck, I think there's something wrong there. And the same goes for this way. I don't even know where that button is now. So make sure that button is touching your neck at all times. The rest of the stuff about getting your chin and everything, that can come later, but first let's make sure you have a really good upright posture. One of the mistakes a beginner makes is to go present, invert, find the button, over the head, come in for a landing, and then they're slumped over. Actually, they're slumped over because they forget that they have to go over their head. And when you go over your head, you have to make your back not touch the back of the chair, and you have to be as tall as you can possibly be. Notice this whole time my thumb has never left the thumb button. The only time the thumb is going to leave the button is when I finally go rest position. Now we can shake this hand out a little bit. It can get a little tense working on our hand. Let's go through the steps one more time. Thumb on the thumb button, fingers on the shoulder, attention position. You're going to learn to do all of that when I say attention position. Your hand will go to this position. Then present, invert, find that button, over the head, and come in for a landing where this button goes right here, and let's do a check and make sure our nose points to our scroll and our elbow. They make a little triangle. Nose, scroll, elbow. Now you might wonder, when do you get to take your thumb off the thumb button? This will come later when we use our other hand, and then we'll do a whole other lesson on called putting your fingers on the string. But when I'm done putting my fingers on the string, we do an opposite of what we just talked about with posture. First thing that happens is thumb on the thumb button, fingers on the shoulder. And then you don't have to go over your head, you can just go down on your knee like this. And then rest position. Shake out your hand. So let's go one more time the steps to a good instrument hold. Thumb on the thumb button, fingers on the shoulder. Present, invert, find that button. Over the head and in for a landing.